You step outside and the heat hits you like a wall. Your phone buzzes. Another extreme heat warning. You check the temperature. It's already past 100 degrees and it's not even noon yet. You duck back inside, crank the air conditioning, and wait for the sun to lose its grip on the day. But here's the strange part. For almost the entire history of your species, there was no inside to duck into. No air conditioning, no warning on a screen, and yet your ancestors survived heat like this, and worse, for hundreds of thousands of years. So how did they do it? The answer isn't willpower. It isn't toughness. It's biology, behavior, and a set of rules your body still remembers, even if you've forgotten how to use them. Start with your skin. Right now, it's covered in something almost no other mammal has in the same quantity: sweat glands. Millions of them. The evolutionary biologist Nina Jablonski has spent decades studying why humans lost most of their body hair and gained this dense network of eccrine glands instead. Her research points to a single driver: heat. Somewhere around 2 million years ago, your ancestors moved out of shaded forests and onto the open savanna. The sun there was relentless. Fur that once protected against cold became a liability, so evolution stripped it away and replaced it with bare skin built to sweat. This wasn't a small adjustment. It was one of the most dramatic transformations in the human story. A horse sweats, a dog pants. But no other large mammal on Earth can dump heat through evaporation the way you can. Pound for pound, humans are among the best cooling machines nature has ever built. Why would evolution invest so heavily in a single survival trick? Because the payoff was enormous. It let your ancestors do something almost no other predator or prey animal could do in the heat of the day: move. This is where the Harvard biologist Daniel Lieberman enters the story. Lieberman has spent years studying a hunting strategy called persistence hunting. It's exactly what it sounds like. Instead of chasing down an antelope in a short, explosive sprint, early humans would simply follow it. For hours, under the midday sun. Antelope are faster than you, but they can't sweat efficiently. They rely on panting to cool down, and panting doesn't work while running at full speed, so the animal would sprint, overheat, and be forced to stop and rest. And your ancestors, walking and jogging steadily behind it, sweating the entire time, never had to stop at all. Eventually, the antelope would collapse from heat exhaustion, not from a spear, from biology losing a war of endurance. Think about that for a moment. The hottest, harshest hours of the day, the ones you now spend indoors with the blinds shut, were once prime hunting hours. Not despite the heat. Because of it. Your ancestors weren't just surviving the sun, they were using it as a weapon. But persistence hunting is only half the story. Because if your ancestors had simply pushed through every hour of daylight at full intensity, heat would have killed them just as easily as it killed the animals they chased. So alongside the biology of sweating, they developed something just as important: a rhythm. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, including the long-term fieldwork done among the Ju-Huansi San people of the Kalahari by researchers like Richard Lee, found a consistent pattern. Intense activity happened in the cooler hours, early morning and early evening. But the hottest stretch of the day, roughly late morning through mid-afternoon, was treated as sacred downtime. People rested. They sat in whatever shade existed. They conserved water and energy. This wasn't laziness. It was survival math. Push hard when the environment allows it. Pull back when it doesn't. Notice what that means. The midday nap, the thing modern life treats as a luxury or a sign of weakness, was actually a core survival strategy for nearly all of human history. Your ancestors weren't fighting the heat around the clock. They were negotiating with it, working with its schedule instead of against it. So why can't you do the same thing? Why does stepping outside during a heat warning today feel so much more dangerous than it apparently was for people with no air conditioning, no electrolyte drinks, and no weather app? Part of the answer is genuinely troubling. It isn't that your body has changed, it's that the heat has. Climate researchers, including Colin Raymond, whose work focuses on extreme heat and humidity, have shown that a specific measurement called wet bulb temperature is becoming far more common in places that never used to see it. Wet bulb temperature accounts for both heat and humidity together, and it matters because it tells you something your ancestors never had to worry about at scale. Above a certain wet bulb threshold, the air holds so much moisture that sweat can no longer evaporate off your skin. And if sweat can't evaporate, it can't cool you. The single greatest survival tool your species ever evolved simply stops working. This is the twist. Your body hasn't lost its ancient superpower. The environment has started to cancel it out. The conditions your ancestors relied on, dry air, cooler nights, predictable relief after sundown, are becoming rarer in more places every year. Heat domes now trap warm air for days at a time. Nighttime temperatures, which used to give the body a chance to recover, are staying dangerously high in cities built from concrete and asphalt. Your evolutionary cooling system was built for a world that gave it breaks. That world is shrinking. There's a second reason too, and this one is about behavior rather than biology. Modern life has quietly erased the rhythm your ancestors depended on. You don't get to rest during the hottest part of the day. You have a job, a commute, a school pickup, a meeting that doesn't care what the thermometer says. The instinct to slow down during peak heat, the same instinct that kept hunter-gatherer communities alive for generations, has been overridden by a schedule built around convenience instead of climate. So when you feel exhausted, foggy, or irritable on a scorching afternoon, that's not just discomfort. It's a very old signal, one your ancestors were built to listen to, being ignored by a culture that runs on clocks instead of shade. None of this means you're broken. It means you're carrying a body designed by evolution for a specific kind of relationship with heat, one built on rhythm, rest, and reliable relief. Sweat when you need to move. Rest when the sun is at its worst. Trust the rhythm your ancestors spent 2 million years perfecting. The tools are still in you. The sweat glands. The instinct to slow down at midday. The biological memory of a species that once used heat as a hunting strategy instead of fearing it as an emergency. What's changed isn't your capability. It's the world's willingness to give that capability room to work. So tonight, when the heat finally breaks and the temperature starts to drop, pay attention to what your body does. It relaxes. It exhales. It remembers, even if only for a few hours, what it was built for. And tomorrow, when you step outside and the heat hits you like a wall, you'll know something your ancestors always knew. The sun isn't the enemy. It's a rhythm. The only question is whether the world will still let you follow it.